your girl, LaDonna Raeh on the LaDonna Raeh Show, and I'm your host, LaDonna Raeh, and we have a very special treat for you tonight. Tonight, we are talking to an individual that is very passionate about talking about the school to prison pipeline and how it involves human trafficking. Now, I know you're probably wondering, how do the two go together? Well, you got to think about it from a perspective when it's explained by someone who knows what they're talking about. Man, you're going to have to help me welcome Brotha Hest, okay? We're going to bring Brotha Hest on, and I want you to give him a warm welcome so that he can come on the LaDonna Raeh Show from where he is. I'll let him tell you where he is, okay? Here we go. Brotha Hest, welcome to the show.
Blessings, peace and blessings, love and service to the audience. How y'all doing today, sister?
Man, I am good. You know, I'm excited. It's Happy Insurrection Day tomorrow. I'm joking. You know, when everybody scales the walls of the White House and they don't look like us, you know, there's an anniversary every year that we celebrate. So kudos to all of you that made yourselves look like idiots.
Yes.
Yeah. So how are you? And
okay, well,
tell us who you are and where you are.
Okay, my name is Brotha Hest. You know, I was raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I was brought up in the Black Gangster Disciple since the age of 12, going on 13. I'm actually right now incarcerated. I've been incarcerated the last 26 out of 27, going on 28 years. And I'm down here in Georgia behind the enemy lines, you know, striving to live one day at a time and use my testimony to educate others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the thing is, you said for how many years? I want people to hear this.
Well, actually, you know, I got incarcerated when I was 16 years old back in 1997. Mm-hmm. And I did time for a crime I didn't commit, but I kept my mouth shut. I kept, you know, what they call, you know, silent to the street code. Mm-hmm. And I got tried as an adult, got handed over to the system without even having a delinquency hearing to ensure that I really was that level of criminalistic, you know what I mean? And so they tried me as an adult, handed me over when I turned 17, and I ended up spending the next 8.5 years in the Georgia penitentiaries coming out of juvenile. That's why I relate to the school to prison pipeline. Well, when I got out, when I was 25, going on 26 years old, I didn't know anything except what I left with at 16. So I went back to the west side of Atlanta, back to Simpson Road, back to the trap, back to selling crack, back to trying to snort cocaine and drink alcohol to cope with the different issues that I had psychologically and sociologically. And before you know it, my family got robbed by some New Orleans cats. They got tortured, beaten, and a whole bunch of things happened to them. When I found out who did it, they said that I blacked out and went and shot the brother and killed him. May God rest his soul and forgive me for my sins. And I came back to prison a year or so later, and I'm now serving a life plus sentence inside the Georgia penitentiary. So yes, ma'am, I've been back since 2007. And I'm currently awaiting a motion for new trial hearing to find out why was I never given an opportunity to get a psychological evaluation to, you know, basically determine was I really, you know, sane at this time, and was my actions, you know, really what was qualified as a malice murder. Yes,
let me jump in because that was a lot to take in. So how does one get to that lifestyle? Like, is this something that you saw growing up and then that was the only way to justify or seek justice in the harm that may have come to your family? I mean, how does one get to that point where it is a cycle of how society looks at it as a violence?
Well, it's beautiful. It's beautiful the way you question that, sister, because as we're talking about the school to prison pipeline, you know, we're talking about the fact that you have children that are going to school that are leaving the projects, leaving the trap houses, leaving our crack, you know, fiend, what they call them, crack fiend mothers, and our abandoned fathers from the home. And so we're going to school looking for a better way. We're going to school looking for help, looking for a way out. We're looking for an opportunity. Mm-hmm. And when we get to school and it's like the teachers see, the social workers see, you know, the counselors in the educational system, they see that, hey, here's this child who is coming in here smelling, having holes in his shoes, holes in his clothes, hasn't had a haircut in months. And he comes to school and being picked on, Joan. And then when he acts out in school, instead of the school getting him counseling and beginning to build a caseworker around what he actually or she actually needs, no, he's being given in-school suspension. He's being suspended. Then he's being what they call totally eradicated from the school through what they call that word.
Totally eradicated from the school when you're expelled?
Yeah, that's what I experienced myself. Yeah. I experienced being expelled at the age of 13, and it's like, how does a 13-year-old child, take on being expelled from school because he's crying out for help? He's acting out, and they say you're acting up, but what's actually coming up? And to me, it's vomiting. I'm vomiting up a sickness that's going on that's not being treated. And so I can't digest it. And so if I'm not given coping skills, coping mechanism, and opportunities to psychologically deal with the oppression, the suppression is beginning to now come back up. And the way that it's coming up, you don't like it. So you just want to push me to the side into the juveniles, into the Georgia region mental health facilities and try to fill me with Ritalin or whatever. And it's like, this is what's going on that leads to us now having to take on the mind state of, like I said, cope. When you look up the word cope, it says to contend with. That means that I'm in the ring and I have to contend or fight whatever it is that's on the other side of this ring. So as a 12, 13-year-old child, the way that I learned how to fight was that if I'm getting picked on and bullied, I'll become bigger. Okay, I'll get kept back this year so that way I'll be bigger and they won't pick on me as much anymore. Now I'm being kicked out of school, so now I got to contend with or cope with the drug community. I have the drug dealers, the gangsters, the ones that's shooting these AK-47s that's making my mama and my little sister, cling to the linoleum project floors. Now I got to learn what is that out there that's making my family that scared. And at the age of 12, 13 years old, I didn't want to go out there. Well, if it's making my mama and sister cling to that project floor, what you think it did to me?
Now, you said something earlier about the schools didn't help. I remember you telling me about how you would go to school with holes in your shoes and the teachers would just overlook it. The teachers, did they even inquire or do a well-being check at the house back then? You know what I'm saying? Anything.
Yeah, I have never had a school teacher in the city of Atlanta, from going through Frank L. Stanton Elementary School on the west side of Atlanta, or down Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, or middle school on Bankhead, called West Fulton Middle School, where they went on to suspend me so many times to where they ended up making. Only thing that I remember them doing, calling my mother and telling, you need to get him some mental health treatment. And she took me to this place called Parkway Regional, took me to Georgia Baptist, which is now Atlanta Medical Center. They got me a psychiatrist that just put me on Ritalin. And the school's response never was to come to the home, but it was to place me into a special education class, which led to me end up getting into more trouble because I'm not going to ride no sped bus. I'm not mentally challenged to that degree. I'm just striving to find a way to cope from being picked on and bullied because of, what it is that I got on, and the fact that I'm biracial, and the fact that, all of us kids are coming from Perry Home Projects, Bankhead Court, Hollywood Court, Bowen Homes. Like, all of us are coming from like 5 different projects on the west side of Atlanta, up and down Bankhead Highway, Simpson Road, and we all hurting. You know what I'm saying? I can't blame it on, poverty. I'm blaming it on the people who are overseeing the poverty-stricken communities, places of service. If you come here as a service worker, and that's what you're supposed to do, is to serve. But as a servant today, myself, even from a penitentiary cell, I have to understand the people who I'm serving. I have to understand what it is that they desire, what they need, what they want. And then once I put on that apron and that ability to serve, I got to have that little pad with me so I can write down exactly what they're ordering. And so we don't see that in today's society when it comes to poverty-stricken America. And just to make a long story short, sister, that's my feelings when it comes to the school to prison pipeline. We're being ushered, almost into, violence and violent tendencies and ways to contend, or what they call cope with this social injustice.
Well, here's the thing. I think that there's some responsibility on the school and some responsibility on the home. But what do you do when the home is not handling the responsibility? I know you mentioned that your mother was unable to provide because of her own struggles. But then the school knew about it, and they just kind of became bystanders and allowing this to just go on and on and on. And the only end result is to end up in a situation that's kind of, irreversible. You know what I'm saying? So, unfortunately, some of our teachers, now I've seen both sides because I'm a parent of a son who needed that extra help. And if I didn't fight for it, he wouldn't have gotten it. I mean, it's in the text, it's in the policy, but it's not actually being executed. So if no one is there to show that they care, the school just kind of moves you along. I know I have a cousin that graduated from 8th grade and didn't know how to read. Same thing, struggle with the parents had those struggles, and he didn't know how to read, and we didn't know he didn't know how to read. So they just kind of move you along. So what kind of life are you supposed to or expected to have when these challenges are constantly in the way? But then I've also heard the whispers of the school staff, so to speak. When you become an involved parent, you become cool with the staff. And when you hear what they say about certain kids, it sickens me. But because I want to be a fly on the wall and I'm listening, I'll redirect them. And certain things they won't say around me, but the things that I've heard, it's too late. I can't unhear that. You have some teachers that just I don't want to say don't care, but they just don't care. You know what I'm saying? And they blame the household. They blame, they want to play the blame game. The blame game does not matter. Like, I don't live in a world of blame. It was your fault. It was his fault. It was my fault. Who cares whose fault it is? What are we doing about it? I'll never forget little Jermaine that was in my son's kindergarten class. Jermaine was, he came to school every day. He was a little quiet, but they wore uniforms. So his uniforms weren't the cleanest. His pants were always, I don't know, too small or flooding, if you will. And shoes, may have belonged to someone else. Now, along with that, little Jermaine wanted to, and I'm making his name up, and little Jermaine wanted to eat all the time. Like, if we gave him breakfast and he wanted more, he was never, especially on a Monday. All that made me realize was that Jermaine wasn't eating at home. He couldn't have been. That household was giving him flame. So, Jermaine, what you do over the weekend? Oh, yeah, nothing. Okay, well, what'd you eat? Flaming hot Cheetos. Wasn't no Takis back then. So, flaming hot Cheetos is not a meal. Your body is lacking nourishment. Your brain is not developing. But you need to develop until you're in your 20s. So if you're not getting the right nourishment and it's not going to your brain, then you are subjected to being underdeveloped and behind and not able to compete. So if you get frustrated with being behind enough, you're going to act out. And you share with me that you had some behavioral issues going on because you were being teased or because you were in this isolated classroom, because special ed is isolated teaching. It's isolated. Now, since you and I were children, they have made it more inclusive, where you have to be in the same classroom and then there's just a pull out here and there, right? But do kids know why you're being pulled out? And that doesn't take the holes out of your shoes either. But this is something that has to be addressed. We always say from the home front, but what if the home front can't do it? Then we got to step in as a community. Period.
Absolutely. Sister, I want to shout out to our brother Bigger Dre, who's hosting a school to prison pipeline event, and he's focusing it in on human trafficking awareness this month. And he's doing it on Dr. King's birthday. And like what you just talked about, what is going on? Where's the solutions coming up? If we know this guy got holy shoes and the children are calling his shoes holy, how are we getting into the solution? Where is the solution coming from when he's being called out of the classroom, being subjected to being put on Front Street because he doesn't know how at 9 years old, 11 years old, 13 years old to get the necessary help he needs in order to have a pair of shoes. He doesn't want to tell anybody because, like, I'm going to speak for myself, like Lil Dre, I'm not going to go tell on my mama. And I'm not talking about Bigger Dre that's doing this event in Philadelphia. I'm talking about myself. They call me Brotha Hest, a.k.a. Dre Day. And it's like one of the biggest things that I would never do is to do anything to hurt, harm, or endanger my mom. You know, I don't know who my father is, so I can't go to daddy and tell daddy. I never had a daddy. I can't go to grandmama and granddaddy because I don't know who grandmama and granddaddy really is. And if I do, are they going to call the police because my mama smoked crack? I just want to have my mama. And so now I have to be quiet. And I thought it was unique how this brother, Bigger Dre, built this platform to bring in Human Trafficking Awareness Month, because how do I get these shoes? Well, when these people start coming down the street and like, oh my God, look at that young man, he is handsome. Hey, young man, come here. Hey, young lady, come here. And now they see us as something exotic to their eyes. They see us something that's able to indulge in concerning their sexual gratification. And it's like we're not human beings that are in need. We're almost like exotic animals, like an exotic snake or a lion or like almost like a monkey at the zoo or a actual, you know what I'm saying?
Wait, why
like
you say monkey though? Why you say monkey though?
Because that's how I feel. I feel like us in the projects, I feel like they put us all in these cages and they built these walls up to keep us in. And I don't feel like there was ever a way for us to come out of it, psychologically, sociologically, or economically. And I'm just saying it because now I'm inside of a cage in the penitentiary. And the people look at us like we are, like when I used to go as a child to the Atlanta Zoo and go see a big old gorilla, we used to call him Willie B. And I used to go see this big old gorilla, and then they'll take us to the monkeys. And the monkeys are over there making a whole lot of noise, and you know they're not content in them cages. They throwing doo-doo at the people coming by. They sitting back looking at you like you a fool for coming and looking at them inside of a habitat like this right here.
Yeah.
And so like Sister Queen, you know, I feel like a monkey at times. I feel like I'm treated as a monkey at times to be subjected to other people's observations and their experiments. And so, you know, to go forward, you know, when I came up and I felt bad about my holy shoes, and people came up to me like, hey, little boy, come here. What's your name? My name's Dre. My name Andre. Hey, you want to get you some new shoes? You want to get you some new? Yeah, I do anything to be able to not be picked on anymore. I do anything to be able to walk amongst my peers, you know, and be equal to them. Even though we was in the projects, the majority of the kids had Jordache jeans, you know, cross-colored jeans, damaged jeans. I ain't trying to take y'all back into the 80s and 90s.
You telling your age. I was trying to figure it out. You telling your age. I know what it is now.
and you know, and that's the spirit of just wanting to have to come even in the midst of poverty. And it's like you got to have a certain code, you know what I mean, in order to enter these circles. And so we knew the dress code was the #1 code. And so when they say, hey, we're going to take you over here, you smoke weed? No, I really don't smoke much weed, but I done tried that. Well, here, we're going to get you some of the best weed. Here, you know, your little friends, tell them to come on too. We're going to get y'all a hotel room. And before you know it, they're indulging and introducing us to child sex. Child pornography. You know what I'm saying? Now they saying, okay, we're going to bring y'all. Now this time, we're not just going to get you no $30 running Reeboks or no $40 dope man Nikes. We're going to get you a pair of Air Jordans. And you like, Air Jordans? That's better than my whole crew got on. Nobody got Air Jordans or Huaraches. And so now it's like we are lured in, and we're brought into to getting on these cameras at these hotel rooms, doing things that I would 13, 14, 15-year-old minds would never conjure up on our own. Now you got old men and women sometimes, you know what I'm saying, that are coming from these clubhouses where they have veterans and older business owners and stuff like that come and drink and gamble and stuff together. Now they are building a little small group of clandestine individuals that's using us for their sexual gratification. They're using us to get their rocks off, and we don't even see the bigger picture. We're just striving to survive. We're striving to cope with how do you go through this school system that keeps pushing you out, kicking you out, expelling you because you're not meeting the criteria of the social group, and nobody cares enough to dig deeper or to peel back the layers of the onion to find out at the core what's really wrong with this child.
Yeah. And no one was there to protect you. You know, if my son comes home, first of all, if my son comes home with some clothes I didn't buy him, where you get that from? Take it back. You see, so there was no one to regulate what was going on your feet, in your body, in your hands, being done to you, you know, and there are these people out there. I publicly asked the public to help me. My son called himself running away. Everybody, you know, authorities said you got to wait 24 hours. I'm not waiting 24 hours because all it takes is somebody to get a hold of him in the next 10 minutes and he gone. So we have to step ahead of this. You know what I'm saying? It takes a village. Yes. African proverb. Don't forget it. But it takes a community. So somebody had to have known that this person was luring you, that this person was promising you everything that you were interested in having that you never had before, because he seeked you out. He knew that. He knew what was going on with you. And somebody had to know that he was doing this to you children. Somebody had to know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And sister, that's where I feel like, you know, I have to give a big salute to Bigger Dre. I got to give a big salute, you know what I'm saying, to the iconic figure, you know, who we all know is Dr. Umar Johnson, the Black psychologist of America.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Big salute to them and this event that's going on and everybody that came out to be a part of it, you know, because y'all are the ones who now can begin to bring awareness and make this prevention awareness campaign something that's real. You know, we got the whole social media accountable. We have to hold our social circles out here accountable. It's like we know that things are going on, but we don't want to say nothing. And I want to just say this right here too. I don't want for a second put the nails in anyone's cross, because who am I to judge anyone? And I want to say this right here, and I want to say this as carefully as I possibly can. You know, when I was growing up, going through stuff like this, it came a point in my life at a crossroads that I wanted to justify, you know what I'm saying? Well, maybe it's okay, you know, for children to be messed with. Maybe it's okay for men to mess with men.
Wow.
And why do you think like that? Why would a person think like that unless they have gone through it themselves and trying to fight inside of their mental perspectives to rationalize themselves and still being a man? Like you took my manhood, you took my masculinity, you took my strength, you took my psychology, and you crumbled it into nothing in a time where I was not physically and psychologically developed in order to help and to understand myself and what was going on. And so what are you saying that to say, Brother Hest? I'm saying that to say that what we're doing here today in Philadelphia at this meeting is we're having a meeting of the minds in order to strategize how do we bring the proper awareness, not just to help heal the children and the people who have been subjected to this, but also how to begin to hold our media, how to hold our community leaders accountable for putting up these billboards about child abuse, child abandonment issues, but especially child trafficking. Y'all know these little children. If you speak to 10 children in the ghetto, at least 3 to 4 of them have experienced some form of child molestation, whether it be in their own family or in their community or in their church. No disrespect to our good preachers. I don't mean no disrespect to nobody. I just want to know what the solution is. And if there's people in the community that try to portray themselves as officers of the law, as officers of what they call to protect and serve, or officers of the cloth, at what point do you begin to stop and say to yourself, what is every angle we can hit this thing from? And one of the things that we can do is to begin to make those who are doing this feel ashamed of themselves.
Well,
make you feel ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, you have to.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, you're my bad. I got excited. I mean, we've got mandated reporters out there, people who are mandated to report that aren't even reporting when it goes on in their own families. They're not saying a word, and they're getting angry when something is said. So if mandated reporters who swore and understood that was their duty are doing this, are not saying a word, doggone well the whole community is just about able to do the same thing. Our children are not protected by the protectors. They're not. Right. And no matter how you try to protect them and prepare them, those of you that have children that have been violated, okay? Those of you that have children that have been violated, stop acting like it didn't happen. Stop acting like it didn't happen and talk about it. Get your child some therapy. Oh, and if you know who did it, go after them. Go after them.
The right way.
Don't you dare let them get away with what they did, because you will never know who your child would have been had they not violated him or her. And I mean that.
That's 100.
If you know of anyone who has gone through this, step in. Don't worry about what will happen, because that child grows up and that baggage never goes away. Oh, and another thing, make sure that you talk to your child if they have been violated to not be violators. Let them know, because it happened to you, it doesn't have to happen to anyone else because of you.
Sister, if I may interject here, because, that's the biggest thing. It's like when this goes on and it goes on ignored, and the parents feel ashamed of themselves for being on drugs through the child's upbringing, or feel like they brought cats in the house that would involve things like that when the sister goes to work or whatever. Like when you have allowed your child to go down there to that center and get certain things from these old folks, you know what I'm saying? These old folks ain't got no good intentions of they ain't trying to help you as a mother. So why they trying to pour all these riches on this child?
Exactly.
Like for you not to even investigate these things. And after it happens, to try to hide your hand like that again, that's where we have to come in with. If we're talking about prevention, if we're talking about intervention, if we're talking about awareness sessions, these awareness sessions, these public service announcements that Bigger Dratum is putting on, like these are campaigns to be able to hit every angle, every person involved. Well, I wasn't involved. I was just, no, you was involved.
You involved
too,
because you knew about it.
And you did nothing. You ignored the solutions. You ignored the possibilities. And I love the goals for today's program here in Philadelphia, where they're talking about providing resources. The goals of this is preventional tools for community members to have, like comprehensive applications. There's apps on the phone that can build missing persons networking systems. There are therapeutic, holistic community healing methods. There are community resource building that need to be done. These are for the folks that need it and desire these services and assistance. And some people are sitting at home right now talking about they ain't got nothing to do, you know what I'm saying, with their life. They can't find a job, won't nobody give them nothing to do, and don't even know if you're just take the time to get up off your behind and go out here and volunteer for things like this right here, rather sit behind that computer screen on porn, sit behind that phone screen trying to get likes on Instagram and Facebook, and actually get out here in the lives of those that really need you, because these girls are being captured at an astronomical rate across America. This ain't going on in Mexico. This ain't going on in Africa and Asia like that no more. It's going on right here in our yards. And the person say, well, yes, this just started happening. How was we supposed to know? Huh? You a lie.
Huh?
You are a lie, because back in 1981, 82, 83 in Atlanta, Georgia, they locked up a black man for taking all these little black boys who were being murdered, raped, and molested, and they locked up this black guy, but they come to find out when they went back and did DNA and stuff like that, it wasn't even his DNA, and he's still locked up to this day. What's that brother name, fam? Wayne Williams, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? We found out, we did so many studies, come find out these 30 different little boys from the west side of Atlanta wasn't never even molested by Wayne. We never even saw Wayne Williams a day in their life. And come to find out, these boys were being people saw the white men throwing these little black boys into the streams of riverbeds, you know what I'm saying, throughout Cobb County and the Atlanta area on the west side right there around Hollywood Road. And it's like that nobody said nothing for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, that almost these white folk were about on their deathbed, and they felt so guilty that they had to say something. And now you got, you know what I'm saying, this thing is going on at an astronomical rate. Man, it's time to do something about it, fam. I'm sorry about that, Sister Queen. I yield the mic.
No. You don't have to yield anything. These are things that we need to know. And also, I want to kind of piggyback off of what you were talking about, the event that's going on January 12th, next Friday. It's Education Over Incarceration, Human Trafficking Awareness, Dr. Umar Johnson. That is taking place on the 12th. Now, you can go to Eventbrite and look up Education Over Incarceration, and you will find the way to get your tickets. Okay, so this is from 5 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern. And this is going on at the, am I saying this right, Tenacum Township?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so
yes, ma'am. And if anybody want to be involved with it, it's at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And if you want to check out and get more information on it, please just email our beloved brother Bigger Dre at True and Faithful One. It's TrueandFaithful and the number 1 at hotmail.com. Y'all check out the brother, man. Y'all go to Facebook and just look up, you know what I'm saying, events, and it'll come right on up, you know what I'm saying, MLK Weekend, Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and the School to Prison Pipeline, man. Y'all will see Dr. Umar Johnson on there. Y'all see our beloved brother, Bigger Dre, man. Y'all show up and show out. If you can't show up and show out, send a couple of dollars, man. If we giving this much money in tithes and offering to the church, I definitely think we need to give it to what's going on, and that's relevant, you know what I'm saying, to our poverty-stricken communities, especially in Black America. No disrespect to no other community and culture.
Yeah, so take your Temu money and buy tickets to this event instead, okay? Now, you said 2 o'clock, but I'm looking at it and it says 5. What is the confusion? What is 2 o'clock?
I ain't gonna lie. I'm so excited to be on your radio broadcast and on your live broadcast, your YouTube broadcast. I'm nervous. I'm gonna be honest with you.
You're not nervous.
Queen. I'm very nervous.
You're not nervous.
You have no idea, Lord. I'm over here sweating a little bit, and I'm passionate. You know what I mean? I've never really gotten on this series of a show from behind these walls of this penitentiary. I just thank God that I was able to call in through this prison phone and be 3-wayed in to be able to speak with you. I got like 20 seconds left before I have to go. Before this call is going to end, and I can't get back on because I made all my calls, you know, Global Tail Link, y'all. Hey, man, big shout out to y'all that's using Global Tail Link to ask them to give us free calls behind the walls. 5 states have been able to do it, and I hope we the next one here in Georgia. I love you, Sister Queen.
All right, we love you too. All right, give it up for Brotha Hest, and just for being able to join us in such a non-traditional way. And from prison. I mean, he that's where he is right now. So y'all just understand that those I never expected to be able to communicate this way with someone that is right there behind the bars. Y'all give it up for Brotha Hest. Yeah. You know, I never got a chance to develop a true relationship with some of my family members because they were incarcerated. And I feel like there's so many opportunities for us to kind of prevent that from happening to the future generations by taking or doing something about what we were talking about earlier. If you see someone that is kind of on the route to destruction or the road to destruction, don't be a bystander and be glad it's not you. Be someone that can be a blessing, whatever way you can. Now, I know that in these newly recent years, parents aren't like our parents were. Well, my mother, man, she was a beast when it came to my schooling. But some of these parents have lost their way and not been able to advocate as much as they want to. But when somebody steps in, they tend to shy away from accepting that help. I'm trying to pick my words. In other words, they get ignorant with you, okay, and say, look, that's my daggone kid. Well, I think that we need to talk to those parents. When someone wants to step in and help you with your child, it doesn't mean you're doing a terrible job. It just means that somebody's coming at you with a different perspective and they may give you just that much more resources. We need to stop taking it personal when somebody wants to help us. I'm talking to me, okay, as well. We need to accept the help and be able to look at the bigger picture, which is our child not being on the road to destruction. Now, some people want to take all the credit. You've got single parents that are, acting like dad didn't do anything when he did something, even if it's behind the scenes and he's not around physically. That's just one side of the story. And your child is not going to grow up saying, my mama was there. They're not. I can tell you that. Okay. They're going to grow up resenting you because you spent so much time trying to be the hero. Now, this school to prison pipeline, it has to stop, but we can't expect the schools to stop it because it's part of their policy. Yep, to send you right to prison. I don't care what you think. That's what it is. It's all about those in the middle, not at the top or the bottom, especially the bottom. So when your kid is at the bottom, when it comes to grades and behavior, they just kind of shuffle you right along and do business as usual until they don't have to deal with your kid anymore. And now, where does that leave your kid? Little Johnny's on your couch or somebody's couch. And it may not be a couch that's safe, okay? So now, don't be that parent that's talking about why didn't he listen? You ain't listening to me, so that's why. No, that's not why. It took a little bit more to redirect little Johnny. It took a little bit more to redirect little Johnny so that he wouldn't end up on the sofa, on somebody's crack house, or in somebody's crack house, or in prison or jail even. Because once they're in the system, it's kind of hard to get them out because now they smell you. They smell you. Now you're nervous. You walk differently once you've been incarcerated. I've never been incarcerated. I don't want to be incarcerated, but I've talked to enough people who have told me from whence they came. Let's prevent it, people. And human trafficking, when Brotha Hest told me school to prison pipeline and human trafficking, I had to ask him, what is the relationship? And he's explained to me that when someone is in school, okay, a school-age person that gets in trouble, kicked out even, is in poverty, being teased, then someone comes along and dangles a carrot. And they know they don't mean them any good, but that carrot is more than that kid has ever experienced. They get hold of your child. That's human trafficking. To promise another human being the best. Paint a picture even. Give them a few nuggets to get what you want out of them. Sexual favors, okay? Running drugs, whatever, man or woman. It's human trafficking. All of these children that are coming up missing, I'm in Chicago. We got a lot of them. Human trafficking. You got to be careful. Track your kids. Communicate. I took my son's phone for a week. He's sick, I'm sure. I also told him if he takes that tracker off, no phone. I mean it. We have to put our foot down. Stop trying to be cool with your kids. Because the school it's not their job to mold your child into a better child. It's your job. Now, if you are unable, because you work in 2 jobs, right? My kids grew up and said I work too much. I'm like, dang, but y'all had everything. They didn't want everything. They wanted me. Okay? So learn from that. But if you work in 2 jobs and that's just what you got to do, find a way to allow a mentorship program. I just put a post out asking for a warm handoff to a mentorship program because I know my boys need to be aligned with some positive Black folks. They're growing up by themselves. No cousins, nobody. Okay? They need that alignment. So if somebody wants to step in and you vetted them, let them. And so what if your kid comes home and says, oh my gosh, they took us to ice skating rink and you never took them. So what? They got to go. Okay? It's not a competition. It's about getting that kid past the school to prison pipeline. Staying alive. Being educated. Making something of themselves. Not being an offender. Not being offended. Not being a victim. And if they are, seek help for them. If they have and they're not telling you, pay attention to their behavior. Did something change? Is something strange? What did I miss? What did I miss? And who all knows about this but you? Yeah. All right, guys. I'm LaDonna Raeh. This is not your typical show. I want you to make sure that you do your part in, I don't want to say saving our babies, but stepping in to save our babies. I love children. And I don't like violators. I can't stand those that abuse children. But they too need forgiveness and help. This is getting too deep. It's time for me to get out. I'll see you guys next time on the LaDonna Raeh Show. I want to give it up for Brotha Hest for coming on straight from the penitentiary. He's still there. He's still there. And he told it like it is. You know, he tells it like it is. He said, don't sugarcoat it, sister. Ask what you want to ask. I'm still tactful, you know, because I want to be respectful. Just because you're in prison doesn't mean I don't have to be respectful. All right? Okay, guys, we're going to get on with it. Make sure you come back maybe about an hour. I think I'll have a singer that gets good grades in high school, that got accepted into college, somebody that we want to celebrate and be happy for and bid her on her way. Now, I'm always happy to celebrate the children. And if you want to celebrate your child in an interview on the show, hit me up. Email me at LaDonnaRaehShow@gmail.com. And let's see what we can do. I'm not charging. I am just getting booked. Because next week we got a strong lineup. All right? I'm going to go ahead and play the music, though. Because it's time. All right, make sure you subscribe to our show on the LaDonna Raeh Show on YouTube. Look for LaDonna Raeh Show. That's RAEH. Hit the subscribe button. I don't have it up today. All right. It was too deep. What can I say? But we are on each and every week. Seems like each and every day at this point. But make sure you tune in. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, comment, share. Let us know that you like what we're doing. Let us know what we can do better. That's what I'm saying. All right? Shout out to my mama and daddy. Hi, guys. Bye-bye for now.